So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to a pre-recorded for the Love of Paul McGrath podcast as Aston Villa take on LEGIA Warsaw in that place right behind Paddy in Villa Park tonight. And it seems like it's a lovely day over in Birmingham, lovely crisp day. You've got a fine hat on there, Paddy, and you're just outside the club shop as we speak.
Don't be fooled by that blue sky. This is as cold as I felt this year, and it was a shock to the system getting off that plane, feeling the cold in Birmingham. I think for the first time ever in my life, it's colder in Birmingham than it is in Ireland. But there you go.
Oh, it's fairly cold. It's 0 degrees here anyway in Galway all day. I'm freezing inside my podcast boudoir, but we won't complain about it because hopefully Aston Villa are going to warm both hearts and minds tonight as we play against LEGIA Warsaw. Obviously, a game that we have a bit of retribution to get after they I was going to say caught us cold, but we never got going, and they played some really good football in the reverse fixture where they won 3-2. Since then they've won some games, they've drawn some games, and they've lost quite a lot of games as well. So they've lost 5 games since we've last played them. But this is the big one, I think, for us today, Paddy. Win this today, and we are qualified, and then we don't have to worry about playing any European football in January. And we're looking forward then on to February without having to play the teams that dropped down from the Europa League.
Exactly, that's the big carrot today. I told you before I had that conspiracy theory that Chris Heck would love us to get that extra home fixture in February, but I don't think Unai Emery wants that. It's just to give us that little bit of a break between now and March, where we'll have to deal with FA Cup games, hopefully a few of them, and then back into European football around St. Patrick's Day again. So look, it'll be magic. It'll be magic to see getting back here into the spring when it's a little bit warmer, and enjoy European football in the knockout stages, because that's when it really starts to hit up, when you're playing here under the lights in a knockout situation, which you could argue tonight is a knockout situation. It puts you back in the back foot for the next fixture, and we don't want to be going away to Mostar having to get a result. So hopefully we can get the job done tonight. We can top the group and not have to worry about anything else below us.
Absolutely, and I mentioned that the Warsaw have lost, and they've it hasn't been a great streak they've been on recently. Of the 7 league games they've played in recent weeks, they've lost 4, they've drawn 2, and they've only won 1. So they're coming off a pretty dismal run of form in their own home league at the moment. They won in the cup as well, and they beat Mostar they beat Mostar twice in the in the Conference League, but a loss to Alkmaar since we've last seen them, a loss to Jagiellonica, a loss to, I'm not going to go down through some of these names, I'm going to butcher them, but they've had back-to-back trips to over the last couple of weeks to they've hosted teams from Poznan over the last 2 weeks, and they've drawn with both of them as well. 0-0 against Lech Poznan and 2-2 against WARSAW Poznan as well. So it's they're not firing on all cylinders, and Aston Villa, but at the same time Aston Villa need to negotiate this tonight, because as I say, we're on a high from our form point of view, and they're not so much, but getting a win today is just paramount.
Exactly, and look, we can only talk about what happened the last day, and you're right in saying it did catch us a bit cold, because we were brave enough to make those changes, which ultimately probably cost us in that game. We thought we just never got firing with the extra bodies that came in. So I expect to see a full 11 out tonight, and then he can play, the likes of Chambers and Young Tim and those kind of players from the start in Mostar if he needs to, once the job is done here today, and that's all we wanted, is just to get that finished today, and overturn, basically, because for those that don't know, it's on head to head at the top of the table, so that's why they're ahead of us at the moment. So if we go 3 points ahead of them, they can't catch us because it's on head-to-head. But I suppose what was the score out there? 3-2, was it?
3-2, yeah.
Yeah, so we might need a different scoreline than that. But anyway, we just got to concentrate on winning the game. That's the most important thing, and try and top the group by beating Munster.
Yeah, and one of the things I suppose for Warsaw is before, like, they're obviously their team hasn't changed that much, but their strikers like Hozu and Murchie, the guys that did damage against us the last day, they're still scoring goals for them. So they're dangerous up front, albeit they did draw 0-0 with Lech Poznan. Those guys are dangerous. They're coming off a game where both of them scored against WARSAW Poznan and against Mostar as well. Hozu scored a penalty in that game too as well. So you know, the way they played against us the last day was being very, very, it was switching the ball left and right, making sure that we were moving our defenders across the field and our midfield were moving across the field. I expect us to be wise to that tonight, and I expect us to really hunker down in the middle of midfield, stop out those passing lanes to get out wide as quick as possible. And I don't expect to see Ezri Konza right back tonight. I also don't expect to see. I expect to see some changes within the team from the weekend. I expect to see Leon Bailey start. It's a home game, obviously. He starts those ones and he plays really well. I think if Zaniolo's over his injury, he might come in, and we could see Alex Moreno and we could see Jacob Ramsey from the start as well. So I think the team sheet tantrum, which will be coming up later on tonight at 7:45 this evening. I think that's going to be an interesting one, because I expect some of the players that we've been nursing back from injury maybe to get minutes tonight, albeit I said that for some of them against Alkmaar and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm actually not expecting that. I'm expecting a proper team that we're used to seeing out there. We may see changes later on if the job is done. But I think its focus today has to be overturning that head-to-head and getting to the top of the league. And then if in 2 weeks' time, when he wants to go to Mostar, he Moreno can get minutes under his belt. Jacob Ramsey can start the game. As I said, young Tim can come in. But I would envisage there'll be very little changes tonight. I do agree with you with Bailey. I think Bailey will be in there. But bar that, I think it'd be very hard to say what he's going to do.
Paddy, we often get chats and messages and DMs and emails for people who are like they haven't traveled over in a while. They're looking to know about what it's like getting over from Ireland. You caught a red eye this morning. I think you were up at something like 2:00 this morning to get a bus to Dublin to get a red eye over. What was it? What was the travel like this morning?
Well, it was fine. I actually drove to the airport, so I left at 2:00. I was at the airport for 4, flew at 6. So I'm walking around Birmingham since 7:00 this morning, apart from the time we went in for breakfast and tried to milk it as long as we could. So my son wanted to get some stuff in the shop, so we can't check in till later on. So we're going to go to the shop here, and I might find a cold beverage close by to keep me company for an hour or two until I check into the hotel. But there's a big operation going on over there. As most people will know, the home fans can't go anywhere near that side of the ground tonight from Whitton Station. They're being told to access Aston Station and not Whitton Station. So it's interesting to see everything that's going on and all the testing that's going on over there. I would imagine they will have a wall, a steel wall like they did it in the championship against Blues and stuff like that. So, really interesting. And look, they are a little bit worried because there's reportedly 1,500 Warsaw fans walking around town with no tickets. So that in itself will lead to a little bit of angst, let's say, amongst the police and I'm sure the staff here at Villa Park.
And the thing there as well, Paddy, is I suppose, we've just come off a podcast where we spoke about words of consequences. And this is something maybe about 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks ago. You saw a social media post from LEGIA Warsaw fan group saying that it was a disgrace that Aston Villa reneged on the amount of tickets that they could give, and it was all Villa's fault, X, Y, and Z. when the reality of it was that it was West Midlands Police said, listen, you know, from a safety point of view, this is what we suggest and all that. So
Yeah.
there's a couple of wars, like there's a potential for it. And I know that, look, as I say, everything hopefully passes off without incident tonight. Hopefully everything is absolutely fine. But there's a potential tonight for, as you said, 1,500 fans without the tickets and a completely and a complete wrong end of the stick from regards to what happened to come around. So I hope that everybody stays safe. I hope that nothing happens. I don't envisage anything will happen, and I hope West Midlands Police, it's good to see that their operations are starting early and that they're well prepared, because you know, you might as well have those situations where you're prepared, because you don't want to be caught in the hop and then have to justify it afterwards. So well done to everybody in that instance.
I'm not overly worried about any situations. The Polish people are great people. They're great football
They're
people.
fantastic, yeah.
They just, like, I spent a few weeks there in the summer of 2012 at the Euros. It was fantastic. They're really, really nice people, and you know, there was, I don't remember one bit of trouble at those Euros from anybody. So I'm hoping that will be the case today, and we can go and just enjoy the situation. Well, I suppose the one saving grace here is, although they're used to it, you wouldn't want to be on the streets looking for any kind of hassle tonight, because it is bloody freezing. So I won't stay out here in the cold for too much longer, because
No.
I need to go in and thaw out.
Paddy, any good deals going on in the shop before we let you go?
Haven't got in there yet. I presume all the Black Friday deals are over. So I did my shopping last week, but my son wanted to get the Conference League badge put on his shirt, so I presume that's what he's doing at the moment.
Any chance you'd ask him if they'll stock our hats, Paddy?
I don't know.
I've got about 8 of them here. If they want, they can put them on sale in there if they want.
Well, here, look. What more advertising do you need? I'm here at Villa Park in this beautiful hat. It's keeping my head warm. If nothing else in me is warm. So yeah,
exactly.
It's a godsend this morning, I can tell you.
It's fit for purpose anyway. It's fit for purpose. Well, listen, Paddy, I'm going to let you get in there. I'm going to let you thaw out first and then go in and get some sort of beverage. Thanks very much, everybody, for watching and listening. I'll be back again at 6:45 this evening for a team sheet tantrum, and we'll be hitting you afterwards, right in the final whistle, to talk about the game of Aston Villa versus LEGIA Warsaw. Thanks a million, and stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.